What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Teej pack. Teej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Teej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Teej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Teej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Teej pack. Feel the Teej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. It is Tuesday, October 17th, 2023, year of our Lord, and we don't miss. We do not miss. Let me tell you something. I just missed. Hold on. Let me tell you something. Drop my phone for a second. It's all right. We back in the mix. Couple different things, right? One thing that you can guarantee is that one day we are all going to pass away. The second thing that you can guarantee is that if you live here in the United States of America, you are guaranteed to have to pay taxes. And the third thing, and this is 100% facts, is that Anton from Anton Daniels is going to be here with you on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday mornings every single weekday, no matter if you got a holiday, in order to make sure that I'm streaming with you guys and that I'm adding value inside of y'all life. What up, friends and family? What's happening? I know y'all think that things be going on, but no matter what's happening, I'm always going to be with you here on the Millionaire Morning Show. We got some things that we want to go over. I want to share with you guys this new trend that's happening in the corporate America. It's called quiet cutting. So we're going to deal with that. We're going to bring Chicago back to the front of the congregation because I know that y'all didn't think that I was, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm genuinely trying not to bring Chicago back to the front of the congregation, but it just keep feed me. And it's the gift that keeps on giving. So as long as y'all continue to allow for Chicago and all of its aldermen and Brandon Johnson and the powers that be and the Illinois governor to do what they do, and as long as you guys are not taking control of what's happening throughout the society and the spaces that y'all live in, I will continue to bring Chicago to the front of the congregation. And when Chicago get its act together, then we'll move on to something different. What's up, friends and family? I ain't even got y'all up on the TV. Let me get y'all up on the TV. Let me get a mental health check. How y'all feeling on this Tuesday morning? And for those of you that tapped into the show last night, thank you. I appreciate y'all. How y'all feeling today? Let me get one word in the chat. Mental health check. What up, Optimus Prime? Jay Woodfin in the building. My girl Yvette. Brittany B. Fan is here. Oh, man, we got some celebrities in the chat today. Kojak, Lisa B. Sky says, hey, Anton, come over to Chicago. I don't know. They keep telling me that I'm banned from Chicago. Like that's a big deal. Ooh, please don't ban me from Chicago. Y'all ain't even got no casino. Y'all just opened up a casino over there. Amazing, positive, chilling, grateful, focused, tired, what it do, building, Bowson, motivated, ready, tested, blessed, running, wiggly diggly, elated. What up, Carrie is on time. Hey, can we get a round of applause for Carrie being on time? Blessed, sleepy, hopeful, learning, gracious. What up, inspired, great, grateful, blue, grateful, hello, disappointed. Angel, what are you disappointed with? Recharged, medicated. Oh my God, inspired. Coming to Long Island. I don't think I've ever been to Long Island. Lovely, flexible, Big Bad Chicago, paid. I like that. Good to go. Synchronous, broke, not broke. That's okay. We got a lot of jobs out here. Fighting. Whoopee, I got you. Motivated, pissed off. What is going on a Tuesday? Tested, working, grateful. Finally. You're not late. You just on time, Sabrina. Rich, rejuvenated, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, comprehensive, outstanding, blessed, hopeful, tested. What is going on with all of this? Cold, debt-free. I like that. Winnovation, rough and tough, inspired, dusty, rich as F. All right, so listen, I need to know what's going on with y'all. Addicted to this show. Now, let me give you a round of applause for that one. Tired from the grind. We just getting started. Y'all tired? Y'all tired? I'm going to read the super chats in a minute. I'm going to acknowledge the people on Cash App because y'all always hold me down. But let me share with you something that ran across my Instagram feed this morning, because unless you guys send me the ratchetness, then I'm not aware of it. And so I react to the ratchetness on the other channel sometimes in order to have a conversation with y'all. But let me share with y'all something that I seen on my Instagram feed this morning.
Median income for black households in this country is $24,000. Think about all the black people stacked up. Where's the midpoint? $24,000 versus $189,000 for our white counterparts. When it becomes to averages, that becomes real money. Average net worth of a black household is $142,000. Of our white cohorts, $980,000. And so when you start to go back to purpose, what's the ability with those assets to be able to start to think about passing on generational wealth, that it doesn't stop with you, is pretty significant. And I share that number to not get defeated by it, but get inspired and driven.
So this man is some kind of banking director, I think, of a Bank of America or something like that. And so he's basically giving you stats that he sees on a regular basis within the bank. And I forgot what his position was. After the show, I'll link it in order for you guys to be able to tap in and get more insight and information. But let me play that one more time for y'all, because I know some of y'all be busy, some of y'all working. I got my truck drivers, my teachers, my people in the church, working from home, so on and so forth. Let me replay that for y'all one more time for the people in the back so that you can catch it. I don't want you to miss it before I start speaking to it.
Median income for black households in this country is $24,000. Think about all the black people stacked up. Where's the midpoint? $24,000 versus $189,000 for our white counterparts. When it becomes to averages, that becomes real money. Average net worth of a black household is $142,000. Of our white cohorts, $980,000. And so when you start to go back to purpose, what's the ability with those assets to be able to start to think about passing on generational wealth, that it doesn't stop with you, is pretty significant. And
somebody in the chat said, I know plenty of white people who ain't got that much money. What does that mean? DK says he's not giving the whole story. What does that mean? I played this, and again, this guy is some kind of big director, I think, for Bank of America, something like that. I played this Shout out to Carrie on vacation. And the reason why I played this is to see what your reaction was going to be. I didn't play it for any other reason than to see how you would react to it. Young boy says he reaching, ain't no adult making $24,000. Interesting. Most blacks don't invest their funds. I don't know if I believe that. That's why it's an average. Facts, y'all don't care about feelings. I played it just to see he's not honest. So predictable. So predictable. And I'm always amazed. I'm always amazed to see how people react to when they see things. Even though you don't want to go out and fact check, you don't want to research the guy. I said that I was going to put his information inside of the description after the show in order to help you to understand exactly how things are going. You fight it, and the reason that you fight it, and I can tell by your reactions, is that you're looking for validation instead of trying to parse through the information in order to let it motivate you to go to the next level. Y'all so used to being average. You so used to comparing yourself and to validate yourself against what average is and the median and the mode and all of this stuff. You're so used to running in the Victim Olympics that is the mindset of somebody that is very much seeking and trying to be in the middle of the pack. Listen, I am a C student, and I say that I'm a C student because I'm helping you to understand that my level of comprehension and how I was graded in school was average, but my results are exceptional. And it's because I never based who I was off of how I tested, but more importantly, I based who I was off of where I was trying to go. And so when I compare myself or I'm looking for validation, I'm looking for validation based off of something that's in front of me, not trying to reach the middle. And so I can't stand it. Bothers me. It irks me. My skin crawls. It hurts my soul to see people trying to validate average. And there's nothing wrong with being in the middle. But my point is that what is the mindset? Is the mindset to be that? Is the mindset to be validated? Is the mindset to be a victim? Is the mindset to be in the middle? I don't understand it. Look, anybody that say that they don't want to be rich is lying to you. Anybody that said it's too many people playing the lottery every single day. When that lottery reaches $1 billion, I see people come out of the woodwork that ain't even played the lottery before. Your actions say otherwise. You want to be successful. You are not watching this show because you hate me right now. I don't see the likes infinitely low because you hate me right now. I see the likes low because you too busy paying attention to what I'm saying because you're trying to get the game and you're trying to get through your day. You're not at work because you want to be. You're at work because you have to be. And then there's a segment of us that actually want to be more successful. If you sit here and telling me that you just want to be an average, everyday person, I call you a liar. I'm going to tell you you're a liar to your face. Is no way that you're sitting here every single morning, tapped in, pushing an envelope, trying to make more money because you're dead set on being average and you trying to run in the Victim Olympics. That is BS if I've never heard it before in my life. And I'm tired of people lying to me and telling me and spreading this narrative, what's wrong with being average? Everything is wrong with being average. Everything. God don't even like average. That's a fact though. Read your word. If you don't like it, then get mad at God. Don't get mad at me. God don't even like people that's in the middle. He like for you to be hot or to be cold, to be winning or to be losing. Because if you losing, at least we can do something with you. But if you in the middle and you very much dead set on being average, that means you stuck in your ways and we can't teach you nothing other than to be a footstool for somebody that's going to get really, really rich. And then you're going to complain about it when you ain't got nothing to retire. Most people have nothing inside of their retirement account. Most people are on their way to be interdependent on the federal government in order for them to even be able to survive at the end of the day. That's a fact, though. Most people are on their way to be trying and hoping and praying for Social Security and being on a fixed income for the rest of their life in order for them to even be able to survive when they cannot work anymore. Some of y'all will be working for the rest of your life, not necessarily because you want to, because I expect to be working for the rest of my life because it's a productivity thing. And it also is a way in which you can live longer lives based off of research. I watched a Netflix documentary about how it is that they survive over there in Okinawa, Japan, because they're the longest living people on earth. You will be working for the rest of your life just to be able to survive, to feed yourself. Not because you want to, not because you just want to be productive. Listen, let me tell you what your future is. They're going to push you out because you're going to age out. You never get any new skills. You never made any investments in yourself. You don't fund your 401k. I keep pushing you at the very basics. Hey, listen, you need to lower your lifestyle. At the very least, only live on this percentage of your income. I dropped the videos inside of the Patreon. Y'all keep talking about wanting to skip steps and get rich. You ain't even did the legwork and did the foundation videos that I drop inside of the Patreon in order to even budget correctly based off of percentages and not based off of how much you make. And so what you did was you failed to even get the free money that they giving you inside of your 401k. You think you're going to protest your way to success. You think that you're going to get a good job and you're going to, strike your way in order to be successful. That's not how it works anymore. You're no longer going to be able to coast. The way that society is going today is that technology is advancing things so fast, so much faster than it ever has in the last however many years that this place has been in existence, that there's going to be a huge separation between the haves and the have-nots. I keep telling you this every single day. There is not going to be any more middle class. I don't know anybody that don't want to be successful. I don't know anybody that goes on vacation and say that they want to budget when they go to, I don't know anybody that want to budget when they go to the restaurant. You like looking at the menu to see how much stuff costs, or you just want to go in there and order whatever it is that you want. I don't know anybody that likes having to look at their bank account and say, I can't buy what I want because I am going to get an insufficient funds fee from my bank. And then I'm going to have to call and see if they can get it removed because it's the first time that it happened this year. I don't know anybody that wants to live like that. Everybody I know wants great views. They want great sex. They want great relationships. They want great people around them. They want a lot of money. They want to be successful. They want to live their dreams. They want to travel the world. They want to have a lot of land. They want to have a lot of kids. They want to have people that's interdependent on them, that's happy about it. They want the best in life. Why do you continue to have these conversations amongst yourself, settling for mediocrity when you are much better than your circumstances and your ability to really be able to generate this stuff is you on a whole nother wave? Who wants to be regular? Listen, put a 1 in the chat if you want to be regular. If you just want to be average, just put a 1 in the chat. That way I can get a pulse of what's happening in the streets. We got over 1,000 people in here. The likes is absolutely anemic. I know it's some people that want to be average because they just hit the dislike button. How many of y'all put a 1 in the chat if you want to be very, very mediocre and average? You just want to get a GED, graduate high school. I need the first 1 in the chat that I see, I'll stop talking about it. Okay, tandem transport. All right, I'm done. I'm not going to try to convince you. I'm not here to try to convince you. I'm done. I don't know if you're trying to be funny. I don't know if this is cute for you. If you a grown man putting 1 in the chat like a little child. I want to be the class clown. I want to be the one. When y'all going to grow up? Is everything a joke to you? Is your life a joke to you? When you look in the mirror, do you see class clown, court gesture? I want to be the funny guy. Was you the person in school that was always telling the jokes, that was interrupting the class, that couldn't get your act together because you thought that it was funny and you was really using it as a coping mechanism for the fact that you couldn't keep up and you wasn't really supposed to be in that class in the first place because it was too advanced for you? Is this too much for you? Is it too much for you to want to be better than the version that you are? Is everything a joke to you? Is the fact that you are very much in in an average life. You will never be more than a footstool for somebody else. You are going to be a worker. You're going to make somebody else rich. Is that okay for you? Did your teacher predict that you were going to be a piece of S, that was going to be absolutely nothing? Is this funny for you? Huh? It's always one. It's always one. And then they want to get offended when you call them out. Oh, okay, so you want to be the funny guy. Stand up and let me see you read. The cat went over the hill, and then they want to get embarrassed when they start becoming the butt of the joke. When you gonna grow up? When you gonna start getting some money? You know, your life is a reflection of who you are, regardless of how you feel about it. Your life is a reflection of who you are. If you die broke, let me be real honest with you before we get into the show. Your daddy passed away broke, right? Your uncle is going to have nothing. Now, that's not a problem, except for the fact that you're going to follow in their footsteps. And when I say die broke, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about bankrupt spiritually, bankrupt with no lessons that they passed on to you as a man. And that's why you continue to live your life as a nothing. You are going to pass away on this earth, and you're going to have been done nothing except for take up oxygen, didn't add any value to anybody's life, probably had a couple different kids. Those kids are going to grow up to steal somebody else's wheels. They're going to be a Kia boy. They're going to be a gangster. They're going to be out here terrorizing. And your legacy is going to be based off of the fact that you were nothing, and so your kids was nothing. And so when your mother pass away and they have nothing in life insurance and they got to hold a GoFundMe or a fish fry in order to bury her, understand this. She didn't give you anything. She didn't help you with anything. She had no value to add for you. She made you weak. The legacy of your family is based off of the fact that they are absolutely nothing. Don't even know their lineage. Not even sure if that's your real father. Is nothing. You have an opportunity to change the trajectory of what was meant for you to be something completely different than what it is that they left you as. You are not supposed to be who you, I'll do you one even better. You are born to be nothing. How about that? When I look you in your eye and I pass you on the street and I see you holding up your sign in order to get me to give you some change, I'm not going to give you nothing. I might throw a nickel at you, and I'm not going to put it in your cup. I'm going to throw it at you. You know why? Because I don't see you as anything. You're a vape. I'm going to forget about you 5 seconds after I pass from you, and I got my good old heat on, and I'm going to be driving my luxury car, and I'm going to have on all of the watches and the jewelry, and my bank account going to be running over, and I'm going to just get done praying to God and thanking God about how good he is to me and making sure that me and my family is protected and safe and blessing me with every single thing that I have. And then I'm going to look at you and I'm going to pass you, and you're nothing. You're nothing. You're going to be an empty soul. Your existence on this earth is to be a beggar. There has to be one. God even said that it was always going to be the poor amongst us. But he's not just talking about the poor in finances. He's talking about the poor in spirit. And see, the thing about us is that we don't understand is that what your life is today, if you are a person, and it's nothing wrong with going through things, but if you're a person that has been perpetually a victim your entire life, if everything that you've ever done your entire life has always been based off of the idea that you just can't get right, can't get ahead, on a no plan, ain't never had a plan for your life, everything you do is short-sighted. Every business that you ever started failed. You start something and you never complete it. You never go and see it through. You started school and then you dropped out. So you went and got a GED because somebody made you go and get your GED in order to even be able to get a job. You started college, you dropped out. You still holding on to student loan debt. You went and got a girl and you got her pregnant, and then you left her to raise a kid because you dropped out of their life, right? You went to the job. You couldn't hack it past your 90 days. You got past 90 days and then you dropped out. And so you're doing just the bare minimum in order to be able to keep the job, right? Now you watch half of a live stream because you don't have the attention span to be able to sit through it because you never trained yourself to pay attention long enough to do something that's in your own best interest. You started a YouTube channel and now you left it after 3 months because it didn't blow up, because you dropped out. Your life is a dropout life. You are a dropout. That is your legacy. Your kids, the people that you dropped out of their lives and now that you coming back into their life in order to get some recognition on Father's Day, they don't even love you. They don't look at you the same way because you've never achieved anything in your life except for dropping out and dropping off. When they look at you as to what not to do. And so that's why they so heavy in their kids' lives, because they look at you and they say, well, my father wasn't in my life, so I'm going to be 10 times better in my son's life. That's your legacy. You want that for yourself? You want to be the class clown for your whole life? You're going to be 50 talking about what you was and what you had an opportunity. Oh, man, I played high school ball with him. Man, I don't want to be the dude that's sitting there talking about who I was hanging out with or who I knew or who I went to school with. I want people to be talking about they went to school with me. Oh, man, I know Anton. I went to high school with him. Yeah, you talk about me. I'm not going to talk about you. You talk about me. I'm not going to talk about you. How about that? I want to be the guy that see you in the gas station. You can be like, hey, Anton, remember me? And I'm going to act like I knew you, but I never really knew you. And so I'm going to be like, oh, man, what's going on, fam? I'm not going to know your name. I ain't going to know where you came from. I'm not even going to recognize. Oh, man, yeah, we went to college together. We was in there. Remember freshman year? Oh, yeah, fam, I got you. Ah, that was crazy. And when you walk away, I'm going to look at my girl and I'm going to be like, I don't know who that was. That's going to be me and that's going to be you. Because I'm intentional. I'm very intentional. At some point, you have to use the information and the data and the statistics to push you forward instead of holding you back and validating the fact that you are just like everybody. When everybody was losing their houses in 2008, I felt like a POS. I wasn't looking at them and saying, oh, well, everybody going through it, so it must not be me. When the teacher would have to grade on the curve, I didn't want no curve grade. I don't care what everybody else did. I want my own stuff. I want my own success. I want my own greatness. I don't even want no curve. The only curve that I got on me is I don't want to hang with average people. I'm sorry. I want to inspire people to be a better version of themselves. And in order for me to do that, I cannot be average. Nobody looks for inspiration from the average guy. Nobody wants information from the average guy. If you are a rock star, you have to be a rock star. You got to live the rock star lifestyle. You got to be it before you can start to talk about it. I won't tell you anything about building. I never told y'all anything about new construction homes until I started building them myself. I want to do everything. I want to go and travel the world. I want to see everything. I want to experience it. And then I want to tell the story and document the journey along the way. Now, if you don't want that, if everything that you want is just based off of what you waiting on your next paycheck to see whether or not you can go and have fun and hang out with the fellas, then me and you are not the same. Listen, I'm cool with going to the football game, but I'd rather sit at the 50-yard line. I'm cool with going to the basketball game, but I'd rather sit courtside. I'm not doing nothing anymore. After 40, I made up in my mind that I'm not doing nothing unless I get the best of it. I'm not doing nothing unless I do the best of it. If I can't sit on the floor, I'm not going. If I can't be at the 50-yard line, I'm not going. If I can't go to this restaurant and be able to order anything off the menu that I want without looking at the price, I'm not going. If I can't ride first class, I'm not riding. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't window shop. When I go to the dealership, I can buy anything in there that I want. Otherwise, I'm not going until I got my money up. I'm not participating. I'm not dreaming no more. I'm living the dream. You can live the dream. Stop telling people that it's okay to, or stop living in a space and being around people where they're telling you it's okay to be average. It's not. Stop fighting for, oh man, you can raise a family off the $50,000 a year. I don't want to. I don't want to raise a family off of, why do I have to raise a family off of $50,000 a year? I don't want to raise a family. I don't want to make $50,000 a year. I don't want it. I don't want that. I can't do it. I'm not interested. I'm not remotely interested. I don't care, God, what I got to do. I get 8 jobs at the same time. I don't care. I am not living that life. That is not for me. That is not what I was ordained to be. That is not what it is that I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I need something different. If you don't want that, look at this. Stop stunting. No, stop watching. If you don't like the fact that I'm stunting, then don't watch, because I'm going to stunt. My life is a stunt. I'm going to stunt for the rest of my life. My clothes, my sweaters cost $600 a piece. My robes cost $1,000 a piece. They are of the finest linen. I'm going to stunt for my cars, the ones that's in the shop. I'm going to stunt for the rest of my, I didn't just, when I moved into the city, when I went and got my new place, I get it. Listen, I love the city. I know that we can all get regular. I wanted the highest price one. I have the highest priced penthouse in the city. That is a fact. Now, I know y'all like to get me humble and all of this other type of stuff. There is nobody that has a higher priced penthouse that I'm moving into in the beginning of the year, and I'm not even going to live there full time. I'm going to split my time between that and the place that I still got out there. I have the highest priced penthouse in the entire city. There is nobody that has a higher priced penthouse in the entire city than me. You know why? Because I have to have the best. God said that it was for me. He didn't say he was going to give it to me. He said I had to work for it, and I'm okay with that. I want the biggest, the best of everything. And if it bothers you, then let that motivate you to get to the next level. Don't just let it bother you and you just go home and go play video games at night. Let it bother you to go and do something in order to beat me. Beat me to it. Beat me to it. If you don't like it, then beat me. If you don't like it, then beat me. That's a fact, though. I have the highest priced pen. It ain't even finished being built. On the site of the Joe Louis Arena, I will be looking at you through the corner, through my corner penthouse at the top floor that you cannot have access to. Beat me. If you don't like it, do something about it. Beat me. Simple as that. Let's keep it moving. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to get on with the show. I'm just tired of these people wanting to be, I don't want no average people around me. Get away from me. Glow Hardy is in the building, says, sent you that email, good sir. Look forward to speaking to you soon. Your experience and expertise is stupendous. Yeah, shout out to you. Anthony M says, good morning. Hope you and everyone are having a blessed day. What do you think is better to route to buy stocks as an individual or as an L? Just get a brokerage account and invest in yourself. And when you make the investment, look for the 8 things that you need to look for when you invest in a stock. And those are not the only 8 things, but those are the fundamentals. But then on top of that, make sure that you're making investments from a 10 or 15-year view, not just from an immediate view. All right. Shout out to you. I appreciate you, Anthony M. Also, shout out to Mike, that dude on Cash App, running it up. Somebody said, I'm confused. Why is he talking to us like that? All you got to do, listen. All you have to do is wait on it. Just wait on it. You ain't got to worry about it. Watch. Just watch me work. Watch in the beginning of the year, and then we're going to talk about it. While you're worried about whether or not it's cap or not, just watch and make sure that you tune in from your mama's basement and watch me cook. Just watch. Watch where I'm sitting. I remember when they said, Anton ain't got no court seats. He ain't paying $100,000 for no seats. I'm there every year. I'm right there. And then y'all see me on TV. Oh, my God, Anton over there. Yeah, they get real quiet, don't they? Watch me work. If you knew, you would have, man, it's insane. Anton ain't ordering no Revelto. Okay. And then you get the call from the Lamborghini dealership. Oh, you ordered 2 of them. Yeah, I did. I didn't just order 1. I ordered 2 because I wanted 2 different colors. I might be feeling dark this day or I might be feeling light that day. Shout out to Anthony M. I appreciate you, big dog. Ian says, my new job doesn't offer 401k. What alternatives are out there? Well, listen, you can invest in yourself, but That doesn't make sense. What kind of job are you a contractor? Are you a contractor? Send me an email. I need to know what you're doing for a living. Shout out to Ian. I appreciate you, big dog. You can do a Roth IRA also, right? But it's limits to that. I think it's $6,500 a year. Craig G says, morning bag chasers today will be amazing. Thou shalt runneth up the bag. Yeah. Hold on. Matter of fact, let me see something. Give me a second. Let me see something. Give me a second. Let me cook for a minute. One second. We're
so glad you called Residences at Water Square, Detroit's first all-glass high-rise apartment building. Pre-leasing for February 2024. To speak with someone on our team about leasing, press 1. To leave a voicemail, press 2. Hi, thanks for choosing the Residences at Water Square, Detroit. This is Sierra speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, Sierra. This is Anton.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
I'm doing well. I dropped off the additional $10,000 to, I forgot who the other woman was in the office. Did you get it?
To Lindsay, absolutely.
So you did get it. When will I be able to take a tour of my new penthouse?
Yeah, okay, so two things on that. So I can it's still in construction. I don't know the date of when it will be completed, but I can follow up with you with that information so that we can give you a private tour of that. And then I know that we also additionally sent over the lease for you to sign. Do you know if you received that lease at all?
I gotta check it. It's in my email.
Okay.
So I think you guys sent it to my email,
what I'll do
right?
is just resend it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out, because I'm going through the process of ordering furniture because I'm gonna order everything new. And I'm just trying to figure out what the construction dates are as far as the move-in dates, because I know that you're gonna be giving me another tour based off of the construction, and I know that last time I was there, you said that it was done up to floor 18. What floor was it again? I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah, 18.
What floor is the penthouse on again?
What floor are you going to be on? 24. You'll be on 24.
Okay. And that is
that's the top floor of where your apartment is.
Okay, cool. All right, well, thank you, love. I appreciate you. If you can send that to me again, just so the lease, so I can have it at the top of my email.
Okay, absolutely. So I'll resend that to you, and then I'll just check in with our construction team to see when will be a good day so that you can get more of a better idea of that penthouse when it's closer to being completed. Okay,
thank you, baby. I appreciate you.
All right. Of course, no problem. I hope you have a great day, okay?
Okay, thank you, babe.
Okay, thank you.
All right, bye. Got to order all new furniture. Anyways, let me continue real quick. John Wick is in the building, says, Anton, I got a full scholarship to college to study tech. I'm planning to follow the blueprint you outlined in one of the Bag Chaser videos in the Patreon. Shout out to you, John Wick. I appreciate you for holding me down, big dog. Levite Apparel is in the building, says, Anton, on you are right. On you are right. God wants us to continue to work hard and gives us an example in the Bible. He hates lazy. Proverbs 6:6, 116. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider his ways and be wise. Be wise. You know, I don't mind pulling out the receipts. I don't mind doing that. Counselor Mr. G says, most people don't change bad habits and spending and other things until it's too late. So they get left behind. Thanks for having me on. Shout out to Counselor. A lot of your chat got my point. Others thought I was mad. They must think WWE is real too. They don't get it. They don't get it. They don't understand. Kahari West says, Anton, how do you find your purpose? I asked my father recently and he didn't know what to tell me. He hit a financial stride in his 40s. Your purpose is revealed to you through the work. Your purpose is revealed to you through the work, meaning that your purpose is going to change and evolve as you continue to excel in life. What your purpose is at 20 is going to be completely different than what your purpose is at 30. Your purpose is not defined by a job. It's continuously evolving because you don't know where you're going to be. So it's revealed to you as you continue to grow. You have to continue to work. You have to continue to strive. You need to set the goals. Matter of fact, you probably need to book a coaching session with me so I can give you my blueprint for that. So email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com. But you're not supposed to be the same person that you were even last year. And so your goals are supposed to be different. Who it is that you are is supposed to be different. What you're striving for is supposed to be different, but it's all supposed to be in good. That way it affects everybody else around you positively. So your purpose is going to be different than mine, but it's not through a title. It's not through a job. It's not anything that you do for a living. Those are just tools. Money is a tool. Your purpose is revealed to you as you continue to ascend and then as you continue to become more successful. It's not defined by the money. The money comes with it. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. The money comes with greatness. So your purpose is going to be revealed to you. And if you're good at it, and if you're great at whatever it is that you're doing, you put in your 10,000 hours, you will be rewarded and you will be compensated accordingly. So shout out to Kahari West. I appreciate you for that super chat and that question. Enforcer 2K9 says, how can you watch a show where the model is bag chasing and have a problem with stunting? Where are you here? Why are you here? And why you ain't trying to get there? They trying to get there. They just don't want to admit it. They just don't want to admit it. They don't want to be that. They just don't want to do the hard work to be rich. I take it. I told God, I said, give me theirs. For whoever don't want it, give me theirs. I take the burden that come along with it. For whoever don't want it, give me theirs. I take the burden that go along with it. Straight up. Let's go ahead and get into the show. Again, shout out to Mike, that dude on Cash App, for hitting me off. I appreciate you. I don't ask for it, but I absolutely appreciate everybody that hold me down. Make sure you get that Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Also on top of that, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I will be showing up in DC on November 4th, and an update to the location is there. Please do not give out the location to anybody that is not a part of the Patreon. Just keep it to yourself. Bring your +1. Let's have a good time and let's turn up. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Persevere Data TV in the building. Let me give him the drum roll just to. Shout out to Persevere Data TV. He says, this message punched deep, bro, but right on time. If you want to know how much money I make, and it's way more now, so I'm about to give an update to the Patreon members, go to the Patreon. I put my W-2s up there. I show my bank accounts. I show my brokerage accounts. I show what it is that I'm doing for a living. I show my YouTube checks. I talk about what it is that I get as far as content creation, sponsorship, licensing, everything. I show all of my paperwork inside of the Patreon. You're more than welcome to go in and tap in and check that out. Also, on top of that, Diaz says, turning 25 this December, working help desk, and will be graduating with my BS and data analytics is May. Also join the Bag Chasers after I found you. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Let's continue to get it. Shout out to Diaz and all of the new Bag Chasers. We running it up over here. Shout out to y'all. Let's get to it. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and bring Chicago back to the front of the congregation. Why are we bringing Chicago back to the front of the congregation? Well, it always comes back down to the money. And it's not something that I wanted to talk about. Somebody told me that Brandon Johnson is a good dude. Somebody told me that Brandon Johnson is a good man. This man right here at the bottom of my screen. What's up, Q? Somebody told me that Brandon Johnson is a phenomenal guy, that he is a family man. His father was possibly a preacher, that he was a second grade teacher. I'm going to be reading those super chats shortly. They told me he's a good guy. They said, Anton, ease up on Brandon Johnson. He ain't the person that's doing wrong. It ain't about Brandon Johnson. It's about what Brandon Johnson represents. He ran for office, didn't he? Didn't he say that he was going to be a public servant? Him and all of his aldermen? This ain't an attack on his family. This is an attack on his ability to do his job effectively. If Brandon Johnson was in corporate America performing the way that he's performing right now, he would be fired yesterday. He would be fired yesterday. Brandon Johnson recently said that he was going to go over to the border like Eric Adams over there in New York and see what the heck was going on so he can get a better understanding of how he was supposed to move in the city of Chicago. Hit a like for the algorithm. Let's rock out, y'all.
Mayor Brandon Johnson today announced he will not be traveling to the southern border at this time, but will send a delegation from Chicago. That group hoping to not only learn more about the migrant crisis, but also warn those coming to Chicago about winter's harsh weather conditions. Our political reporter, Marianne Ahern, is here now and has the very latest. Marianne.
Stefan, there were critics who said that the mayor's trip was just merely a photo opportunity. His team suggests he still may go at some point, but there is still enough on his plate, more than enough on his plate, so he will not be traveling to Texas now.
I am going to the border as soon as possible.
Less than 2 weeks ago, Mayor Brandon Johnson announced he would travel to the Texas border to see for himself the crisis that has brought more than 18,500 migrants here. Today, he's changed his mind. Senior advisor Jason Lee.
So what we're doing is we're sending a small delegation.
Who is this child talking to me right here? This guy, who is Jason Lee? I mean, listen, respect to Jason Lee for speaking on behalf of the mayor because he's one of his delegates, apparently. We don't want to hear from Jason. We want to hear from Brandon. We don't want to hear from Jason. We want to know why Brandon is not following through to better understand what's going on at the border so he can make adjustments instead of continuing to make concessions over in Chicago. Brandon, respectfully, we think that you're cool. You are a senior advisor. We don't necessarily want to hear from you, Brandon. You look like you just graduated from college. How you going to be an advisor? Jason. Go get Brandon. Tell him to come here. Tell him his daddy want him. We want to talk to him over here at the Millionaire Morning Show.
Delegation to begin some preliminary conversations with local stakeholders there who are responsible for transit.
A smaller Chicago delegation will go later this week to visit 4 Texas cities: El Paso, San Antonio, McAllen, and Brownsville.
Let me ask y'all a question. Who's paying for this trip? Just curious. Who's paying for the flights, the hotels, the transportation? Is this another taxpayer-funded trip, or is this coming out of y'all own pocket? Is this a taxpayer-funded trip, or is this? Because I just need to know where the money is going. Oh, we're going to get to the money in a second. This is just the initial conversation. I want to know where the money is going. Who's going to be taking you from Chicago to El Paso to San Antonio, over there to McAllen, Brownsville? I need to know who is out here sending y'all on these trips.
Alderman William Hall will join the group.
Oh, not another alderman. Didn't we learn about aldermen yesterday? When they were talking about Chicago corruption, didn't we learn about one of the 50 aldermen that then controls what it is that goes on in their city? And if you're not in good with the alderman, then you don't get any kind of help from the city. Corruption at its finest. That's what the person that described it to us yesterday. So this is one of the aldermen, and he's going to go with the delegation in order to better understand what's going on down there at the southern border, guys.
Well, I need to know where they're coming in, how they're moving to and from Chicago, who's all involved.
The delegation looks to inform the migrants and those coordinating where the migrants are sent what the weather conditions will soon be like here.
We also need to communicate accurately what's happening in Chicago. The housing situation is becoming critical. The weather is becoming colder. We need to make sure our stakeholders on the border understand that dynamic as they're advising migrants on their next options.
I think it does make sense to make sure that as the migrants are making their decisions, they understand what Chicago's going to feel like. And it's less about pushing people away.
That's Alderman Andre Vasquez in the 40th Ward. Alderman Andre Vasquez is a part of the 40th Ward, and he wants to communicate with the migrants. Listen, guys, I just want to let you know that when you come to Chicago, it is going to get colder, and I want to know how you guys are getting in and whether or not you got safe transportation back and forth to the city. On behalf of Mayor Brandon Johnson, I know that he's sending us down here in order to evaluate the situation, but I just want to make sure that I'm communicating effectively with the migrants to help them to understand that there are better options, and maybe you don't want to cross the border. I don't know.
And more about the environment they're going to be facing out here in the cold if they come.
Meanwhile, this huge vacant lot at 38th and California in Brighton Park, it is being evaluated to perhaps house 3,500 migrants in a newly built tent city. There's already work being done here to level the land.
They finding land. I didn't even know that there was available land over there in Chicago for y'all to just be building and building. I thought that the land was locked up. It's expensive. Can't find no land. Can't find no way to invest or nothing like that. How are y'all able to just do this over here in Chicago? Y'all leveling stuff, bringing out construction crews, cranes, planes, automobiles. Good grief.
Fact is that having 3-year-olds.
Oh, another alderman, Mike Rodriguez. So Mike Rodriguez, let me get that. Mike Rodriguez, alderman of the 22nd Ward, is now communicating, and I don't trust this man as far as I can throw him because he ain't even got no stash, man. I don't know if he's white. I don't know if he's black. I don't know if he's Latino. I don't know if he's, what is a Rodriguez? Because I seen some Rodriguez's that were black too. I don't know this man. He ain't got no stash, family. I don't trust this man. He looks concerned, and he's over the 22nd Ward, and I don't know if he's going on this trip to El Paso either.
Sleeping on the floor of police stations is unconscionable. As a city, we can't allow for that. If that means putting up tents, we've got to do that.
The city has not yet formally announced the Brighton Park location, and the alderman there promises to update the residents.
He's Spanish, Q. Okay, thanks for bringing me up to speed.
When she learns more.
So all of the aldermen are in cahoots. They all in agreement. None of them are disagreeing. None of them are fighting back. None of them are speaking on behalf of the residents in order to make sure that they communicate that this is not what the people want. All of the aldermen is saying, hey, man, we need to build more tents. We need to make sure that they heated. And more importantly, we need to allocate resources and tax money in order to do so. Y'all got to check this part out.
Well, tonight, NBC5 Investigates has uncovered more records showing just how costly the migrant crisis has been on Chicago taxpayers.
Yeah, the new records we obtained account for just a fraction of the more than $60 million that's gone to a single company. Here's NBC5's Investigates' Bennett Haberly with more.
Evrod and Regina, we've obtained 4 weeks worth of invoices for hundreds of employees working inside the city's migrant shelters. But we had to fight to get them. The city initially denied our request for the invoices that now provide new insight into where that money has flowed.
Reading Super Chat shortly.
Invoices show staffing the migrant shelters cost Chicago taxpayers more than $7.2 million during a 4-week period this
And this is when they didn't even have remotely as many migrants as they have right now. That's just for staffing for a 4-week period from April through May, and staffing to one company alone, $7.2 million in 1 month. 4 weeks, 28 days, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And that was back in April, May, before Anton started really hammering home and doing these live streams about what was going on in Chicago. We just really started getting started on Chicago. So this was before anybody was paying attention. And when they had no visibility into what was really happening, nobody was really concerned, it wasn't that big of a deal yet. Chicago, in a 4-week period, spent over $7.2 million to one company for staffing. Y'all cool with that? Are y'all? No. I just want to understand, and I want to make sure that we all on the same page. Are y'all cool with that? Y'all with it? Just let me know.
Spring. So where did that money go? As we previously reported, Favorite Healthcare Staffing holds the contract to staff the migrant shelters and billed the city $20,000 for a single nurse during 1 week last December. The new invoices show despite hourly rates being...
Look at all of those lines. Look at all of those lines. Oh my gosh, I am in the wrong business. I am in the wrong business. I should be, I'm in the wrong business. I'm definitely in the wrong business.
Being reduced this spring, Favorite still billed the city for more than $16,000 for that same nurse to work 7 days in April. All told, in the 4 weeks we examined, Favorite charged more than $64,000 for the services of one nurse. He was working at this YMCA high-ridge shelter, and he wasn't alone. Our analysis of more than 400 Favorite staffing employee invoices shows even the lowest paid staff rates were $50 an hour. The most expensive, $156 before overtime.
$156 an hour before you pass 40 hours. Now, when you get to 40 hours and you go above, so on that 41st hour, that's time and a half. So now you throw another $78 on top of that, if my mental math is correct. And now they making close to $230 an hour. $230 an hour when you get into overtime. And we don't even know if they're getting double time or none of that. $230 an hour when you get to overtime. And one day, that's two bands. One day, two bands. Travel nurses. Y'all tapped in with Chicago. See how y'all can get y'all money up, $156 an hour. And they working 12-hour shifts. $1,800 a day. And they got multiple different people up there. $7.2 million in 1 month.
That means in a year's time, Favorite could have potentially charged the city six-figure salaries for employees working inside the shelters.
I told you Favorite should have been gone. They have not set the standards for what we do in our city.
The costs have led to criticism. In Alderman Jeanette Taylor's ward, staffing invoices for the shelter at the former Wadsworth School totaled $1.4 million for the 4 weeks we looked at. At the end of Chicago, the city's largest shelter with more than 1,500 migrants, the total was $1.6 million. At the Social Club shelter in the Loop, $1.2. The mayor's office has noted Favorite's hourly rates were inflated to cover administrative costs like hotel rooms for out-of-town employees, which is part of the reason the administration now wants to hire locally.
So they feed you, they pay for your hotel room, they bring you there, they treat you good, they'll fly you in. You might as well be a bad bee. Hey, you ain't got to wait for no rapper to fly you out. All you got to do is contact Chicago. Chicago, y'all flying them out? Get them bad nurses out there. I just want to see where the money going. Where the money going?
We've also renegotiated the emergency contract that I inherited multiple times.
Cap, let me tell you something, bro. Whenever you see people start to say something that they inherited, that means that they're trying to dodge responsibility for what is happening on their watch. They said, Anton, you better connect with the alderman. I'm not welcome in Chicago. Somebody told me I'm not welcome in Chicago. It's a no-fly zone. Somebody said I got to tap in with Kanye or Common. They ain't even in Chicago. Everybody that's supposed to be in Chicago ain't even in Chicago. I got to call Chief Keef. Chief Keef ain't in Chicago either. He over on the West Coast. Chief Keef ain't there. Who I got to call in Chicago in order to be able to get through without no problems? Bandman Kebo? Bandman Kebo ain't in Chicago. Bandman Kebo be down in Miami, fam. Bandman Kebo ain't even in Chicago. How come nobody from Chicago actually stay in Chicago? Where Kanye? Calabasas? He was in Wyoming. Where Common at? He over there in Hollywood and California and then in New York. Why Common always sound like his nose stopped up? Yeah. What's going on, Gway? Dirk ain't there either. Lil Dirk. Who I got to talk? Obama ain't there. Obama ain't in Chicago either. Obama said we over here having a good time. Justin Fields. Oh, I know who to call. Jussie Smollett. If I call Jussie, I need to call Jussie Smollett in order to call R. Kelly. R. Kelly ain't there no more either. Chance moved out. Chance moved out of Chicago. Chance ain't hanging out in Chicago no more. Chance don't even drop no albums no more. Let me call Jussie. I know Jussie got the pulse of the streets. Is Jussie out of jail yet?
Times. And so we're confident as we project out that we've put out an RFP to hire Chicagoans as well as Chicago businesses to be able to reduce the cost.
Aldermen we spoke to this week said they have concerns about transparency and costs, but we're encouraged to hear the Johnson administration's plan to save money by hiring local Chicago people.
For me, if you're going to spend that much tax dollar from the Chicagoan, it should go to Chicagoans. And so getting to the point where that becomes this like system of recycling those funds and helping our economy out is where we want to be.
The situation is unacceptable. These contractors that basically are imposed on us are in my opinion, unacceptable. And that's what we'll be looking into the next few weeks to modify these in the budget.
We reached out multiple times to a spokeswoman for Favorite, but we haven't heard back just yet. We've also asked the mayor's office for an interview to discuss the future plans. We're still waiting on a response.
I'm waiting on this response too. NBC5 investigates migrant crisis, man. I called the mayor's office and they said that they was gonna pass the torch over to me, and then I ain't got no response yet. I might have to make another phone call. I'm going to have to make another phone call because I can't get in touch with Common. I can't get in touch with Ye. I can't get in touch with Chief Keef. I don't know where Obama been hanging at. Where's all of the people that's supposed to be holding it down in Chicago? Hold me down. R. Kelly, he ain't got no lines in Chicago no more. Where everybody at? The only person still in Chicago is Jussie. 7.2 million in 1 week. In 4 weeks. What's going on, Chi-Town? Stand up. Chi-Town, stand up. Is Jordan hanging out there? BJ Armstrong? Scotty left. Scotty left Chicago. Steve Kerr went over to the Golden State Warriors. Who's still hanging out in Chicago? I know all of our legends over here in Detroit. They still here. Rick Mahorn, Isaiah Thomas is regularly here. Oh, Isaiah's from Chicago, ain't he? He don't even be there. He be in Detroit. With his new Sherlin champagne that we be drinking. Shout out to Twista over there. Twista, I'm going to call Twista's manager and see what's happening. I got to tap in. I'm tapped in with Twista's manager, so I'm going to call Twista's manager and see what's happening over there in Chicago. This is ridiculous. Let me read some of these super chats. Good grief. I'm ready to bring another city to the front of the congregation, and y'all keep bringing me back. Every time I try to leave, something keep pulling me back. Jamal Fowler says the message need to be heard no matter how difficult it may be to hear and process. Shout out to Jamal Fowler. Elliot Jackson says, can we get a video for women on how to support an entrepreneur through all phases of the come up? I think that would be fantastic for everyone. Most women are not built for dating a high value man, and that's the truth. They have no clue on what it takes in order to be there. Blue Baggins, shout out to Blue Baggins in the building, says he's right. It's unconscionable to have these people sleeping on the floor, so deport them instead of spending my tax dollars on these illegals and putting they didn't say that they were illegals. They said that they were asylum seekers and they were migrants, okay? And they now have the ability to be able to work and make money, according to what is happening over there in Washington with Biden. Putting them in black neighborhoods, put them in white neighborhoods. Nope, Blue Baggins, you will now get what you voted for. Ian says, getting back into being a travel tech, W-2 per diem, they just don't offer 401k. W-2 per diem, okay. I'll be making more money than I am now so I can pay off the debt faster. Well, you just need to, a couple different things that you want to do is you want to first make sure that you start your businesses that then more closely align with your lifestyle. Can't really talk about it here, but I am planning on doing a live stream on Thursday, so maybe I can go go into that inside of the Patreon, and you guys can ask me those pointed questions. Also, my dog, Pocket Watching with JT, sent me a discount for you guys to be able to get a free consultation with him if you are a subscriber to this channel. So I will be probably bringing that out tomorrow or Thursday in order for you guys to actually speak with a actual CPA. All right. So shout out to Ian. I'll be tapping in with you shortly. Chris James says all they're going to do is get incorporated in Illinois and get a little office space to meet the criteria. That is true. So then they become a Chicago company. That is absolutely true. Yes, Chris. Yes. Justin K in the building says, bro, look at those numbers. This is why I'm getting into government rental properties. The government bag is too easy to pass up. Facts. We just got to grease a couple palms, Justin. Make sure that we get in with the aldermen, and then we'll be able to go and get them government bags. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my dog Justin K. Justin K. that's running up the check. Bill Ford. So I've been keeping you guys in a loop of what's been going on with the strike, right? And we've been hearing everything from everybody except from the corporations. And Bill Ford is one of the people that are basically one of the most important heads in Ford Motor Company in general, right? Represents the family, is a chairman. I think he's the chairman of Ford Motor Company. Also has board seats. At one point was a CEO. And I'm hearing that he is a part of sometimes the negotiation process when they need to get things through, right? But more importantly, the one thing that I already predicted way back in the summertime was that there were going to be mounting losses. And when I say mounting, I mean massive mounting losses inside of the auto industry. The stocks are plummeting, which is one of the reasons I told y'all to get out of it. Tesla stock is going up. I looked at it yesterday. It is up more than it has ever been over this past year. And everything is going absolutely, positively as predicted based off of what I've been seeing happening. And even the Detroit casinos are starting to prepare allegedly to walk out this afternoon, right? But let me bring you up to speed on what's going on as far as the mounting losses that's happening across the board in the auto industry as a result of these strikes.
Ford Chairman Bill Ford Jr. tonight is asking the UAW for a quick end to the month-long strike. In his first public statement since the strike began, Ford said the strike is hurting Ford's ability to compete in the years to come. He also believes he and his company are being mischaracterized by UAW President Shawn Fain.
Yeah, our business editor Rob Maloney live tonight with more on Bill Ford's remarks, the union reaction, and a look at the strike's economic impact, which keeps growing, Rod.
Yeah, Devin, you know, the Anderson Economic Group has been tracking this since the beginning, and they have some rather grim numbers that talk about the impact of this strike on the industry and also as its ripple effect on the state of Michigan here. And Bill Ford knows these numbers all too well, and it probably played into him coming out and speaking as he did today. It is the bargain picketers make. Take hourly losses now, walking out on strike, hoping for that big payday later. The Anderson Economic Group tonight saying that the original equipment makers lost direct wages of up to $359 million. The Detroit Three took a massive hit, $3.5 billion.
So everybody losing money. Everybody is losing money. The direct wages, meaning the amount of money that's coming out of the people's pockets, the actual workers, have equated up to about $359 million. My dog Kojak said the Detroit casino workers just walked off the job 10 minutes ago. Interesting. The direct wages as a result of striking, meaning the money that is coming out of people's pockets, the money that they would have otherwise made if they had still been on the job versus having to be out there in the cold. And it is definitely getting cold here in the D. Up there in Flint, they down there protesting now over there by the water. I see them over there in Kentucky. They rolling out the strike. I don't know how warm it is inside of Shawn Fain's office, but I'm sure he got a new T-shirt for this Friday. Specifically, about $359 million is directly coming out of the pockets of the workers. So everybody is taking a haircut. The Detroit 3, which makes up Ford, Chrysler, and GM, have lost the equivalent combined, the economic impact of about $3.45 billion with a B dollars. So everybody is going to take a haircut. You know what the worst part about this whole strike thing is? Is that, yeah, that strike line is looking thin. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. The worst thing about this is that in the next few years, after whatever contract that they ratify, we're going to be back here again. They just like Congress that can't pass a budget bill. After, in another few years, after they ratify this contract, and let's say they do a 4 or 5 year deal or whatever like that, we're going to be right back here doing the same old line and dance, except for it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to give you my prediction shortly.
$1.5 billion. Suppliers getting hard hit too, just under $3 billion in losses. And finally, dealers and customers, more than $1 billion in losses. In all, nearly $8 billion in industry losses as of last Thursday.
And that's an economic impact. Again, and we ain't talking about restaurants. We're not talking about people that are independent on it. We're not talking about servicers. We're not talking about janitorial companies, contractors, none of these people. This is just directly as it relates to wages from the workers, directly impacted by the strike, money that came out of the big three as a result of what they're losing. Supplier wages and earnings is estimated to be $2.67 billion, and we only a month in. Dealers, $1.21, and the economic impact so far, just off of the big three, is $7.7 billion.
Knowing this, Ford Chairman Bill Ford Jr. said today,
"We can stop this now." And I call on my great UAW colleagues, some of whom I've known for decades. Many are close personal friends. We need to come together to bring an end to this acrimonious round of talks.
At the Michigan Assembly plant, line workers like Nicole Colvin, a 20-year line veteran, aren't terribly concerned with what Bill Ford's thinking at this point.
Everybody wants to get settled quickly, but we also want what's fair to us. We are the ones that comes in here up to 10 hours every single day, sometimes 7 days a week. We want what's fair to us.
So let me get this straight. So you come in there up to 10 hours a day, 7 days a week to work, right? And this is one of the reasons why you sign up to work there, is because when you go there, you get paid based off of your hourly wage. You also get profit sharing checks at the end of the year based off of how well that the company did. So your compensation and your bonuses is closely tied to. I mean, I've seen them getting $10,000 checks, $8,000 checks, $16,000 checks. And profit sharing just because the company profited, also because they've reinstated those since they had knocked them out in 2008 or whatever, right? And then when you work over 40 hours, you get time and a half. And then when you work on Sunday, you get double time. So you're making a lot of money and they're compensating for your time, because it's not like you salary. See, when you salary and you get called in and you got to stay over, you got to work 12 hours, you don't get paid anything additional. You just got to put that work in. See, when I have things that's coming up, or a deadline, or something goes down, or we have to be on call, or we got a release, or we got something going on like that, I get whatever it is that I was going to get no matter what. Y'all get compensated for coming in for your overtime. As a matter of fact, I know people that love that overtime because that's how they pay for their Charger and Challenger. They Hellcats. I don't really understand what the problem is.
They're watching inflation eat away at their paychecks. And 3-year line veteran Mario Chandler says while he likes Bill Ford,
I mean, I guess I get where he's coming from. I say the same thing. I'm ready for it to be over, but it's also saying, like, we fighting for what we gotta fight for. So if it takes this long, it takes this long.
And in the meantime, responding to the UAW rhetoric.
Jay got it the hard way, said Dodge employees got $20,000 bonus checks last year. I don't know too many companies that gave the regular workers $20,000 bonus checks. Wow.
Rick, is the order of the day. General Motors tonight just put out all of its numbers of its most recent economic proposal. Highly unusual, but we have all of those numbers for you if you want to get a look at them on clickondetroit.com.
I love to get it, Rod. Rod, keep us up in the loop. Let me see specifically what Bill Ford was saying when he was pitching
Chairman
this thing.
Bill Ford Jr. making a big announcement about the future of the automotive industry. Of course, this coming during the UAW.
They need to update their audio. What is wrong with these news companies? Come on, I mean, listen, I appreciate y'all for dropping the content, but y'all really, really need to update y'all audio. Y'all audio is slacking. I ain't the greatest. My audio might be a little bit better than y'all's.
Strike. He just started. We're going to go ahead and listen in.
Learn about this marvel of American manufacturing. It is my honor today to introduce Ford's Executive Chair, Bill Ford. There has been no greater friend to the Rouge and its employees than Bill, and we are grateful for his leadership. Please join me in welcoming Bill Ford. Thank you, Corey. Thank you. Well, thank you, Corey, and good morning, everybody. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Good morning,
at the
Bill.
Rouge. I wanted to meet here today because
I feel like I'm there. I feel like I'm there. I feel like I'm in the audience, and so I'm going to participate as though I'm there.
105 years old, the Rouge tells the story of Ford, the UAW, and America itself like rains on a tree. It's the living history of how we have endured every crisis the world has thrown at us and come out stronger together. This is where we build so many of our iconic models through the years. And when called upon by our country, helped democracy prevail in 2 world wars by building boats, tank parts, and jet engines. And when an explosion here took the lives of several of our employees, we got through those hard months as a family.
Now that Rouge complex that you see in the background is the exact complex that I used to work for over in Dearborn at Local 600. I worked there. Now, I wasn't working there when the explosion happened. I got in afterwards, right? But that is the place where I actually had my job. When I tell y'all that I was in the plant, that I was on the line or whatever, I was working all of these hours and his overtime hours, I was at the Rouge complex and I was actually working. That is the location that I worked at where that explosion happened. I was actually working at that complex, and I was happy to be there.
When the pandemic upended our lives, factories like this one allowed us to turn on a dime to make life-saving PPE for frontline workers. A couple of decades ago, some executives wanted to shut down the Rouge.
Julian was there with me. Shout out to my crane operators trying to show that Bentley. We depended on the crane operators. The crane operators was holding us down. We had to go and mark them steel coals and all of that. Shout out to my dog, Julian Rooks, show that Bentley.
A rusting relic of another era. And I said no. Instead, we turned it into the most environmentally advanced plant in the industry. And as Corey said, today it assembles America's favorite vehicle, the F-150, and also the F-150 Lightning. The Rouge is the crown jewel of a company that still believes that building in America matters. Automobile plants like the Rouge have created countless well-paying manufacturing jobs and a thriving middle class. And they have become the foundation of our communities and the Midwest cities that we know and love. I want to be clear on something else too. A strong manufacturing base is critical to our national security. Building things in America matters now more than ever, especially in these uncertain times. And we can't take that for granted. In my lifetime, I've watched countries lose their auto industry, and then virtually all industries after that. Countries that once had vibrant industrial bases no longer make anything. They've become dependent on others for critical products, aspects of their supply chain, and even national defense.
And that's one of the problems with the United States of America is because we've become a finance and credit-based country, and that we've outsourced everything because it's no longer profitable to make it here in order to compete on a global scale. And so I don't think that people know that. They're so busy trying to count the money and the profits that go into a company, but they're not also counting the research and development and the reinvestment in order to keep competitive with these other companies and countries that are now looking to take your lunch. Because see, it's not just the Japanese automakers that's here. You got Korean automakers, you got Japanese automakers, and then more importantly, you have the European automakers that everybody want a foreign, you know what I'm saying? Y'all want a foreign chick and you want a foreign whip. And then on top of that, what people really don't see coming, and I see them on the streets all the time testing with the manufacturing plate on it, is the Chinese. The Chinese auto manufacturing and electric vehicle makers are coming to a city near you. Y'all thought that the Japanese wasn't going to be able to infiltrate. They did. You thought that the Koreans wasn't going to be able to create it with the Kia boys and the Hyundais and all of that stuff. They are. Europeans, y'all always have been a fan of it. Y'all want y'all a BMW and Audi and a Lambo and all of these companies. They do. And the Chinese are right behind them, and they're going to be selling it right in your backyard. And the thing that people don't understand is they are not brand loyal anymore. This is not the 50s. They are not going to kick your car tires if you don't. And we already got another American car company in Tesla that people take a lot of pride in.
And today, as the UAW strike against Ford continues, we are at a crossroads. Choosing the right path isn't just about Ford's future and our ability to compete. This is about the future.
I seen a VinFast the other day. He said VinFast is already in North Carolina, and I seen a VinFast the other day, and it was kind of looking sweet. And I was like, what is that? And I was like, oh, what is a VinFast? I seen that mug driving over here, right here in Detroit. I seen a VinFast the other day.
Of the American automobile industry. The UAW leaders have called us the enemy in these negotiations, but I will never consider our employees as enemies. This should not be Ford versus the UAW. It should be Ford and the UAW versus Toyota, Honda, Tesla, and all the Chinese companies that want to enter our home market.
Yep.
Toyota, Honda, Tesla, and the others are loving this strike because they know the longer it goes on, the better it is for them.
And so are the shareholders, which is me.
They will win, and all of us will lose. This is why Ford's ability to invest in the future isn't just a talking point. It's the absolute lifeblood of our company. And if we lose it, we will lose to the competition. America loses. Many jobs will be lost. So will future investments. We'll lose factories like the one we're in here today. And communities will suffer greatly. Now, I haven't spoken publicly since these negotiations began, but I believe I have a unique perspective to share. I'm the longest serving leader in our industry. I've been part of every negotiation since 1982 and have worked with every UAW leader from Doug Frazier to Ron Gettelfinger and Bob King. I've also been the most pro-union leader in our industry. On my watch, Ford is the only automaker to have added UAW jobs over the last 15 years. We employ more UAW workers than any other automaker. We assemble more vehicles here in the U.S. than anyone else, including 100% of our F-Series trucks. Many of our competitors moved jobs to Mexico as we added jobs here in the U.S.
And you will be burned for it. You will not be loved. You will not be appreciated. You will not be embraced, and you will not be celebrated. As a pro-union corporate guy that has negotiated and been a part of every negotiation since 1982, and as a guy that has witnessed companies rise and fall and has endured throughout the entirety of it, you will fall. You know why? Because you're not looking at it as a capitalist and you're looking at it as a partnership. The minute that you start looking at it as a partnership is the minute that they cut your nose off. They start to slice your legs up from under you. They start thinking that they got just as much equity in the company as you, even though you the one that got the name on the company. Your last name is the company. You will fall because you put too much trust in people that did not have your best interests at heart. Listen, most of these people that's working in the UAW today, they wasn't there in the 80s. They certainly wasn't there in the 90s, and they do not care anything about you. They don't know the heritage. They don't know the history. They don't know what you guys have went through. They don't know how many jobs that you added, and nor do they care. The only thing that they care about and the only thing that they counting is your pockets in order to figure out how much they can dig out of it. They do not care about you. They will cut your legs out from under you because they don't know the history that comes along with what it is that and whose shoulders that they standing on as a result of what it is that they protesting against. The fact that you added more jobs, but you are now the one that they are targeting the most, is telling. The fact that you are the only automaker that added jobs, not took jobs away and moved them over to Mexico, is the reason why you are the one that is being targeted the most. They are targeting your most profitable product. They're targeting your most profitable truck plant. They're targeting the possibility of trying to cripple you in order to get it. They're wearing eat the rich shirts, and they absolutely, positively, if you let them, they will bankrupt you. That is a fact.
Ford is the strongest partner the UAW has ever known. These are choices we made, and it's added cost to our business in an industry that is extraordinarily competitive. But it aligns with my personal values and the values of our company and our history. We believe in building in America. Every set of negotiations has been challenging, but at the end of the day, we've always recognized that we're all for.
Somebody said adding temp jobs ain't good enough. No, Ford is actually the automaker that most quickly converts you over into a permanent employee within 90 days after you became a temp worker. So you don't know what you're talking about. You just think you know what you're talking about, but almost every single Ford employee has a pathway in order to become a $32 an hour at maximum employee that is on the line. And so it's Chrysler that uses more temp workers, actually Stellantis now, not Ford, not GM. And so now you just feel in a certain type of way. Adding temp workers, even if it was just adding temp workers, let's evaluate that right there. Let's say that it was adding temp workers. It's adding jobs that then have an opportunity to then convert over into permanent employees. Jesus Christ.
And we will succeed or fail together. We know how vital the UAW is to the success of our company, and we want our employees to do well. We didn't wait for the current contract talks to create thousands of jobs or invest billions of dollars beyond what was required by the letter of a deal. And we agree that our UAW colleagues deserve even more. And that's why we've offered a record contract which would make our UAW employees among the best paid manufacturing workers in the world. Despite this, the UAW leaders decided to escalate and strike our Kentucky truck plant last week. Shutting down that plant harms tens of thousands of Americans right away, workers, suppliers, and dealers alike. It hurts the communities that depend on these local economies. If it continues, it will have a major impact on the American economy and devastate local communities. The supply base is very fragile and will start collapsing with an expanded strike. But it doesn't have to go that way. We can stop this now. And I call on my great UAW colleagues, some of whom I've known for decades. Many are close personal friends. We need to come together to bring an end to this acrimonious round of talks. I still believe in a bright future, one that we can build together. I still believe the automobile industry is a major force for good in our country. And we will continue to be there when America needs us most. Ford has strong leaders, the best product lineup we've ever had, and a talented workforce. This is an incredible chapter in Ford's history. If we seize this moment, it will mean jobs, profit sharing, and security, and growth and prosperity for all of us. But the price of failure should be clear to everyone as well. Let me close with this. After 120 years, Ford is still a family company. Unlike the pundits and politicians who've been weighing in on this conversation, this is deeply personal to me. When the TV cameras turn off, I'll still be here. I'm only the fourth member of my family to lead this company, and I always take the long view. I'm working for a bright future, not just for my children and grandchildren, but for the hundreds of thousands of families that depend on the Ford Motor Company. Those families are counting on us. Let's come together, reach an agreement so that we can take the fight to the real competition. And let's build a great company for years to come. Thank you all very much.
So that is Executive Chairman Bill Ford's remarks saying that, listen, we need to come to an agreement. We put together a record contract. Y'all gonna try to bankrupt us. I don't know what y'all are looking to get out of this, but my mindset is we need to come together because the competition is not amongst each other. The competition is international. Let me read some of the super chats and then we're going to continue over with the show. Knobs S says, Wow. So let me get this straight. They're going to give them jobs, tax the hell out of them, then use that tax money to take care of the migrants. Talking about Brandon Johnson over there. Shout out to Knobs. I appreciate you. Also says that strike line looking real thin, Anton. Thin as hell. You know what I'm saying? Sandy Bravo React. Shout out to Sandy Bravo React says, good game drop consistently on this channel. Respect. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. McGregor is in the building with the 5-ball says, I think a lot of these strikes are coming as a result of the UPS pay increase. Employees and other companies saw that and saw their own possibilities. You got to think that the UPS pay increase is based off of total compensation, including your benefits and all that other type of stuff. It's not just based off of how much did they make per hour. But shout out to you, McGregor. I appreciate you. Dr. D's is in the building. Dr. D says, this is a clarion call. If they don't listen to them, it's over for the unions. I think that the unions is already over. I think the unions is already over. It's just a matter of time before we realize it and before you guys actually see it on your doorsteps. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Let me move over into this because a lot of people don't really understand what's going on in the industry and the economy today. They don't. And remember when quiet quitting was a thing, meaning that people just stuck around, especially when they worked from home, because nobody had visibility into what they were doing. And so they would just hold on to the job, basically getting free money, and they would just wait to either get fired or phased out. And that's what was called quiet quitting, just to make it short. But companies are now instituting what they call quiet cutting. Let me fill you in on what's going on in the industry today.
Hey, so I have good and bad news. Which do you want to hear first?
What's the bad news?
Your current role has been eliminated.
Okay, what's the good news?
You're being reassigned.
This is an example of quiet cutting, a new workplace trend that's been dominating the headlines.
We've talked about quiet quitting. Now there's a new trend, quiet cutting.
A new trend is here, quiet cutting.
Some bosses have been trying out a new technique called quiet cutting.
Quiet cutting is restructuring and reassigning the roles and responsibilities for a completely different thing by not giving them layoff and portraying like, we have something for you, we'll take care of you. Here is the job, take it or leave it. And that basically is avoiding layoff in certain scenario by the employer to employee.
For the past few years, we have seen quiet quitting, we've seen the Great Resignation, and all of this was a sign of a strong economy, a strong labor market, tight labor market.
You mean when Trump was in office? A strong labor market? Now when they tell you that hey, the American economy is running and we got unemployment down to this particular rate or so on and so forth, it's a white lie, meaning that it's the truth, but it's not the full truth? Okay. So the economy was humming and everybody had jobs galore and they was hiring y'all and we had, all of this beautiful money that was flowing out and the recession was all gone and inflation was skyrocketing and everybody was just chilling because they had options and they could do what they wanted to do when they wanted to do it. Now, companies are having what they call quiet cutting.
Market. Employees have had the upper hand. Quiet cutting is a suggestion that the tables are starting to turn, that employers are starting to have that upper hand now.
Quiet cutting is just a buzzword term, but reorgs, when a company reorganizes their internal system and teams, is not new. It's not a new concept. And reorgs have historically either been made to benefit the company, but have historically always frustrated employees. It is being highlighted as a different aspect of the mass layoffs and changes in the field of work that we're seeing.
So, long story short, what she's communicating to you guys is as people leave the company, for whatever reason that they leave for, whether they get fired or whether they leave to go to greener pastures or they get a better job or whatever, the company is not necessarily replacing employees. And so when you're talking about layoffs, it's another form of it because they're just redistributing the work. They're eliminating positions. They're reducing the workforce, which is also reducing the amount of money that they have to pay over in payroll, right? The labor that they then have to pay money for. And then when people leave, all they're doing is just readjusting, reallocating the work, and also giving you a different job title. So let's say, for example, you have 20 people inside of your department doing something specific, right? But let's say that 8 of them leave, so you got 12 people left. Well, they're not actually hiring anybody to replace those people. They're just redistributing the work, may give you a different title. They may even give you a little bit more money, but they're saving a significant amount of money by not replacing those people through natural attrition. And here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest benefit to it. They don't have to pay out anything as a result of it, because they're not laying you off. They don't have to give you a severance package. They don't have to buy you out. Now, they're just adjusting the workload, and they may even be growing. They're using automation tools. They're giving you additional assistance. They're contracting things out. They're giving you a stronger workload. They're now requiring you to be hybrid, so you got to come in some of the days of the week. Then you can stay home other days of the week. And then they're now adjusting it to where you can then come in the majority of the days of the week, or they're giving you the option to come in, which is really suggesting that you come in and not stay and work from home, because the people that is going to come in is the ones that's going to benefit as far as continuing to grow in the company. That's what they're promising you. But ideally, they're aligning themselves financially through attrition, basically the natural state of people leaving the company, whether they go over to a different company or they go and make more money or whatever. And they're not replacing those workers, but they're just reallocating the work, and they're adjusting where you may work as a result of it. And so they're not actually doing layoffs, but they're not growing from a labor perspective while also growing their bottom line.
This is Matt Conrad. He's been reassigned twice at IBM. He ended up with a job he loves, but the reassignment process took a toll.
Yeah, so I was actually reassigned, I think, twice in 366 days. And unfortunately, I live with mental health disabilities and major depression, complex PTSD, and anxiety disorder, and all.
What? What? This guy gave me more abbreviations and acronyms than I was able to keep up with. Let me rewind this a little real quick. They might need to fire you, Matt.
I was actually reassigned, I think, twice in 366 days. And unfortunately, I live with mental health disabilities and major depression, complex PTSD, and anxiety disorder. And all three kind of kicked in simultaneously. And I started.
He got the A, B, C, D, E, F, G. DFG, HIJK, LMNOP. This guy got most stuff going on in his life. He has more stuff going on. Fam. You need to go and get your mental health together. I don't know. Listen, ain't this what the women say? Who did it to you? Where's she at? His mother must have left him when he was younger. Who hurt you? What did women say? Who hurt you, sis? Yeah. This guy got all of the elemental P's. Good grief. Depression, PTSD, personality disorder, bipolar, turn into a monster at night. Family. The reason they keep reassigning you is because they're trying to nag you out. They're trying to get you up out of there. Fam, don't come up here talking about how many disorders you got and how many personalities you holding on to. Family, what is going on out here in these streets? Who hurt you, sis? Anytime you tell a woman and something go viral on Instagram what that they don't necessarily agree with, I had a clip that go viral that said, who was worthy of marriage? Who hurt you? Whoever she is, she really did a number on you. Then somebody replied to him in the comments, oh, he married for 20 years. Oh, it must be his mama. Oh, no, he had a great mama. Oh, he must be broke. Oh, no, he a millionaire. Oh, something must be wrong. Listen, I don't know why he taking it out on us. Well, it's just that I'm just telling the truth. You're just wrong. Baby girl. Who hurt you, sis? Let me see what all the disorders he got again. He ran them off like he was reading off a paper. He's familiar with this.
In 366 days. And unfortunately, I live with mental health disabilities and major depression, complex PTSD, and anxiety disorder. And
what is complex PTSD? Is that like a stronger version of the PTSD, or is it not as strong? I'm just curious. I'm just literally trying to find out, what is complex PTSD? Is that a different version of it or no?
And all three kind of kicked in simultaneously. And I started having panic attacks on really a twice a day basis.
They all converging on me. The PTSD one and the bipolar one is coming in at the same time, and I'm having a panic attack. Oh my God.
And ended up taking short-term disability to make sure I protected my mental health.
IBM.
Yo, we are in a cupcake phase, family. Now I see, look, y'all the ones that's messing up the game, fam. Y'all messing up the game because y'all out here, oh man, I gotta take some time off with pay in order to make sure that I take care of all of my different personalities so that I don't turn out. What's that name of that movie where the dude had all of the different personalities and he would wake up and he would be this intelligent guy and it would be, oh, they all trying to get me at the same time. I need to take some time off with pay in order to, that's why they reassigning you, because they need to get the work done and you're not available. Now y'all be sitting here wondering why they quiet cutting and reassigning you, because y'all been finessing the game for a long time. Come on, man. Man up. What was he doing during this time? Playing video games? Walking in the park? It just so happened to be the summertime. Was you in Italy gathering yourself? Man, I know how to fix that. My mom would have fixed that. You wouldn't have came out with no PTSD. You wouldn't have came out with no elemental P's. You wouldn't have came out with none of that. You would have been a stout, grinding hustler, go get it, all of that. My Dukes knew how to fix that. You want to know how you do it? That's what my mom used to tell. Oh, okay. Why was you being bad at school? Why did your teacher call me today? Well, Mom, I think I got ADHD, PTSD, and elemental P. So long story short, you can't control yourself, huh? No, that's not what I said. The doctors on the internet said that it's a possibility that you can have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, elemental P. Oh, so you talking back to your teachers, huh? Mom, no, I told you to keep your black mouth shut. Now, if I gotta call off of work and come up to that school one more time, you be in school all focused. Teacher be laughing at you under her breath. You know she laughing because she know you got that whooping. Because you got that welt right across your neck right here, and your t-shirt can't hide it. You keep wearing collared shirts every day. Knowing it's the summertime and you want to wear a t-shirt. Oh, you can't pay attention in school today, huh? Okay. No, Ma, they said that I got A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I know how to fix that. Is the devil gone? He gone. All of the elemental P's is gone. You be in school focused, writing all of your papers, putting... C's turn to A's. A's turn to A pluses. All of a sudden, all of that stuff is gone. You ain't got to get no mental health check. You ain't got to take no vacations. You ain't got to fix nothing. All of that. Everything is all fixed. You ain't got to get no therapy. Ain't nobody got to come and check on you. All you needed was some swift discipline, and all of the alphabets leave you. All of the alphabets leave you. Ain't that tripped out? We went back to natural remedies in my household. No. We not going to spend no money on no doctors. You don't need no medicine. Hey, go get the... My mom didn't call it a belt. She said, go get the strap. Go get the strap. You go in there, you go and get her that little belt that look like a tie. You get the belt that look like oh, you think you funny, huh? Then she go and get that thick one, that Gucci belt. And this belt don't break. I don't know how Gucci made this belt, but this belt don't break. Matt, we could have fixed that. Yeah. Come in there like this. So what did the teacher tell you? How many days you got off from school? Is that right? I got you. Put your hands on that bed. Put your Hey, y'all ever fell out and act like you had passed out, but then they just kept whooping you and you just somehow woke up from it? Oh, man.
IBM isn't alone in having employees reassigned to new roles. Big name companies like Adidas, Adobe, and Salesforce have been enforcing large-scale reassignments. Also, LinkedIn research published in May found that hiring has continued to slow in many countries, but internal mobility is trending upwards in several industries. Some economists say that despite the overall U.S. job market remaining strong, companies are fearful of what lies ahead, so they're resorting to the quiet cutting tactic.
Quiet cutting is happening because companies are fearful of what's coming down the pipe. They're fearful that the economy will go into recession or that they will run into economic headwinds, and they are concerned that they're going to have to cut down the line. And so
That's all right. They got some Venezuelans over here that's going to fix all of that. And they work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they don't sleep. They don't sleep. See, listen. If your mama didn't fix it for you, we just got a soft generation, honestly. That's how the economy got messed up. Fatherless households, wasn't nobody. Look, I know that y'all thought that I was going to give y'all the financial aspect of what's going on with quiet cutting, but the reason that we here today is because we didn't get enough of these. That's your financial lesson today. We need some more of this, less this. That's why that girl keep talking to you all negative, because she ain't never had no correction in her life. If you want to talk to, if you keep seeing these women in Atlanta, they finessing you, they got all of this going on, so on and so forth. They ain't getting none of this. They ain't had grandma in their house. No strong father. They spoiled. Everybody told them that they was cute all their life, and so they gave over the poom poom to everybody that told them that they loved them. That's the reason why we having quiet quitting and quiet cutting throughout. I'm not going to continue to substantiate Matt out here running in the Victim Olympics. Matt, get your ass to work and take care of business. You be out here homeless, you living van life. That's how to fix your situation. This, more of this, less of this. I want to hear about your situation. I can fix that. Cornball. Let me switch over to this last subject that I want to get y'all up to date on. I actually wanted to talk about this yesterday, but I kind of went off on a rant, went on a tangent. Tipping culture. So tipping culture is something that we've discussed on this platform before. We've debated about it, but it's much different here than it is in other countries. And it's really starting to hit a headwind now that we have a lot of people from a lot of different countries, and we're basically a melting pot here in the United States of America. It's kind of like a culture war. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
You ready or you need more time?
No, we're ready. Sometimes my kids tell me, "Ma, bring me something." They go, okay.
You must be down there in Miami. Got to be down there in Miami. That's a Miami thing over there.
Not today because Mom no make money today.
Hello, ladies. How are you?
How are you?
Lupe is a server at Cisco's restaurant, bakery, and bar in Austin, Texas.
Oh, Texas.
One of many workers around the country who makes the federal minimum wage for tipped workers, which is $2.13 an hour.
$2.13 an hour. Make you appreciative of that 32 and then that 20% raise that go on top of that. You making about $40 an hour, and then you get overtime, time and a half, and then double time on Sundays, and then you get triple time. Some of y'all be getting triple time on holidays. Triple time. $2.13 an hour. It make you think differently. You hustle a little differently. These people get up and they go to work every single day, and they basically are interdependent on tips in order to survive. I seen a chick get some of the best service ever the other day, and the girl, it was a black girl, she left her $1. Bill had to be $100 at least. Now, my bill was only about $45, and I usually tip sometimes, depending on how I'm feeling that day, especially if the bill is relatively low, like $45, that means I went out by myself instead of went out with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I'll usually match it. So whatever it is, or I'll just do the difference and go it up to $100. So let's say if my bill is $45, I'll tip $55, and then my bill is just $100 because that's what I expected to spend that day anyway, right? So I'm going to give her whatever the difference is, and then I'll walk out before they even see what the tip is so that, you know, it make their day a lot of times. You cover for a lot of the people, and I'm really, really blessed. And that's just how I like to move. That's just my personal preference. I'm not telling anybody how it is that they do. But at the very least, I don't even care if the service is horrible. I usually tip at least 20% minimum, at least 20%. But this puts a whole new perspective on things when you understand that people are only making $2.13 an hour. It's crazy.
Rate that's been in place since 1991.
There's no real economic theory that came up with $2.13 an hour. It's just no good reason that we haven't moved away from that.
There are about 5.5 million tipped workers in the United States.
Nobody's making you work as a tipped wage employee.
While restaurant owners across the country might want to be paying their employees higher wages, some, like the owner of Cisco's here in Austin, Texas, say they just simply can't afford to do so.
At the end of the day, if we were to increase our minimum wage internally, we have to then pass that off to the customer, which then likely probably tips less.
Wages across the economy in the lower third of the economy have been artificially suppressed for way too long. If you want...
And that's the thing that people don't understand. Listen, I understand both sides of the argument. You come from a different country. You're not necessarily the tipper. You believe that, hey, they should pay their workers more money. Or what do you think that money is then coming from? It has to get passed on to the people. So essentially, you're going to pay for it in one way or another, except for the actual wage. Let's say, for example, the Waffle House employees is advocating for $25 an hour. Waffle House employees are advocating for $25 an hour and security. So how much do you think prices have to be raised in order for you to actually be able to pay all of the Waffle House employees $25 an hour? It has to be passed on to the consumer. It has to. And so usually if you see an establishment that say that, oh, we don't accept tips here or something like that, then you also see a price reflection or it reflected in the price itself. You cannot trust people. And this is one of the reasons why tipping culture is bad. You cannot trust people to be commensurate with what the economy or what, you know what I'm saying, what is happening as far as trying to bring these workers up to and do it yourself. They then depend on the business owner to do it. If the business owner doesn't necessarily do it, then they say you should have paid more money to the worker. If the business owner go out of business, oh, well, that's just capitalism. It's not my fault. But then y'all want to live in a society where you got more socialism and everybody is equal pay for equal rights and take the business owner and take all of their money and whatever, so on and so forth, eat the rich. Most people that have a restaurant, most people that have a business, most people that have these server jobs, or most people that work for a business owner that have these establishments are not rich. Most real estate holders are usually one or two properties or whatever, and they may have a little bit of cash flow after they pay their mortgage. Most of the time, they are not rich. Even if they are rich on paper, they do not make enough money for them to be able to go and buy and live the lifestyle that you guys really think that they are living out here just because they say that they're a business owner. That's a fact.
People to work in these jobs, we have to pay them and not force them to rely on tips.
While some states have set their own minimum wages and the minimum wage for tipped workers is higher than the federal requirement, it's often not a living wage. 43 states have a lower minimum wage for tipped workers than non-tipped workers.
I hate that term, livable wage. What is a livable wage? What is a livable wage? I don't know what a livable wage is.
Meaning the percentage you're tapping on that tablet might not just be a thank you, great job, but instead, what brings that worker to making minimum wage?
The tip should be what a tip was always meant to be. A small amount on top, a gratuity.
Matt Cisneros' grandfather, Rudy Cisneros, opened Cisco's Restaurant, Bakery, and Bar in 1950 in Austin, Texas, one of 16 states that adhere to the federal minimum wage for tipped workers. Here's how it works. The federal minimum wage is $7.25 per hour, but if you're a tipped worker, it's $2.13 per hour, also referred to as the sub-minimum wage. The difference between the two, $5.12, is called a tip credit. If a worker doesn't receive $5.12 an hour in tips, the employer is responsible for paying them that difference. That's the law.
Most consumers have no idea that every time you tip in a restaurant in most states, it cuts against the worker's wage, rather than being something on top of the wage.
Lupe, who's been working at Cisco's for 10 years, makes the federal sub-minimum wage of $2.13 an hour. She works alongside her mother-in-law and cousin. She told us while there are days when she makes only $30 in tips, she typically makes about $200.
It's difficult knowing if somebody goes home not making a lot of money. You can have a good day at work being a banker, and you can have a bad day at work. The same goes for a pharmacist or anyone. Wages are fluid, but I think if you work hard, you're gonna get tipped more.
Cisneros says when he and his partners took over the restaurant in 2017, it wasn't profitable.
Wasn't something that we bought being like, oh, we've got some honey hole here. We bought history that we knew continued to live. We're here to ensure everybody has a very fair, livable wage and can go home to their families and look in the eyes and be proud of where they work.
Between 2018 and 2022, annual revenue nearly doubled. Their goal is a 10% net profit margin.
So what is a 10% net profit margin? Well, let me see what they're going to say real quick.
Percent is a lot higher than a lot of other restaurants. Why not raise the wage?
There's months that we don't get anywhere near that margin. It's a little bit more of chess that we're playing. So our revenue is not what a lot of restaurants are, right? So if you're at a barbecue place, you're probably doing $10 million a year in revenue. Like, while they might operate on a lower margin, they still probably net a lot more than we do. We have to ensure that our margins are around where they are. Otherwise, like, this business is not functional.
In 2020.
So what he's basically telling you is that net profit margin doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. So let me break it down to you from a C student's perspective, okay? Net profit margin may not be as high at other restaurants, but you may have a barbecue place that does, for example, $10 million in revenue, right? So let's say that their net profit margin is 4%, but they do so much revenue that they make more money than a smaller restaurant that does less in sales. So let's do the math. $10 million. Well, I don't know any places that's doing 10. I don't know any restaurants that's doing $10 million. Let's make it more reasonable. Let's say $2 million, right? Let's say that they do $2 million in gross revenue, right? $2 million in gross revenue. Well, 10% of that would be $200,000. 5% of that is $100,000 net revenue profit. So that means that you have to sell $2 million worth of stuff in order to net $100,000 in profit. That's after employee expenses. That's after rent. That's after insurance. That's after whatever the product is that you sell, right? Everything all included costs you $1,900,000 in order for you to make $100,000 in profit. Now, let's say you take him, right? And let's say that they do $400,000 in sales, because often at times, especially if it's a breakfast spot or it's a spot that sells cheaper food, like, Little Small Burgers or Coney Island or something like that, and the cost of doing business there is a lot different. Let's say that they do 400. Let's make it round. Let's say that they do $500,000 in revenue. Well, a 10% margin at a restaurant, which is more realistic, that's doing $500,000 in revenue, may be profitable, but at a 10% margin, they're only making $50,000. 10% profit margin, $50,000. And then you got to go through and do the taxes and everything like that. So if you're making $500,000 in sales throughout the year, and then you wind up doing a 10% profit margin after all expenses, that means that you're generating about $50,000, right? If you're doing $2 million in revenue and you do a 10% profit margin, then that means that you are making $200,000 in profit after all expenses, and you still taking a chance, you taking a risk, you got to reinvest in your restaurant, so on and so forth. If you do a $2 million in sales, but you have a 5% profit margin because you wanted to lower the cost, you wanted to make it more accessible, and then people spend more money at your restaurant, then that means that you're making $100,000 in net profit, whereas the place that's selling $500,000 and stuff, then they're only making $50,000 in net profit. So then you say, and this is the thing that people don't truly understand because they don't understand the cost of doing business. They've never actually built the business. They don't know what payroll is like. Sometimes you have good weeks. Sometimes you have bad weeks, right? Sometimes it's a holiday and it's booming. Sometimes it's not or whatever and the power go out, whatever, right? So then the people say, well, you only paying these people this amount of money, right? And y'all doing $500,000, y'all doing $2 million in sales. Well, we got a 5% net profit margin, right? Or a 7% net profit margin, or 8%, even in 10%. Why don't you pay all of them a livable wage? Everybody in there should be making $50,000, $60,000 a year at least. Well, that completely eats up almost 100% of my profits. Because if I raise the prices, I may not necessarily do more in sales because more people won't be able to afford what it is that we selling, which then limits the amount of money that we gonna make. Even though we got higher prices, we try to pass that cost over into the consumer, but it doesn't necessarily translate into profitability from the business. So what I'm trying to teach you guys and what I'm trying to tell you guys is that the reason why certain things still exist within a culture is because it is conducive for whatever is happening in that economy. If you are in the restaurant business and the culture is A, B, C, D, and E, that profit margin is then determined by the entirety of what it costs you in order to continue to run the business, right? The price of success is not just buying the chicken for $1 and selling it for $2. You might have to sell it for $6. And the reason you got to sell it for $6 is because you got to take into account all of the other things it costs in order to even be able to put that chicken inside of the fryer, all of the oil, all of the cleaning, all of the employees, all of the taxes, all of the insurance, all of the rent, all of the different things, the construction costs, so on and so forth. The possibility of things going wrong, inspections, everything, it doesn't necessarily translate just into profitability unless you bake the entire cost into it, which you then have to pass over into the consumer. So what he's basically telling you is that we don't really do that much in sales. So a 10% profit margin doesn't necessarily translate into being able to give everybody a big old raise in order to have a livable wage. All right, let's continue.
Otherwise, like, this business is not functional.
In 2022, labor alone accounted for nearly half of the restaurant's total costs.
And they don't even pay them. They don't even pay them, but a fraction of it. But later, labor costs them almost half of all of their operating costs.
2022, labor alone accounted for nearly half of the restaurant's total costs. Cisneros told me he and his partners have never taken out a salary from the restaurant. He has a full-time job as the founder and president of Backyard Ventures, an advertising partnerships business.
This is to feed all of the families that work within these walls.
So he's never taken a salary, and he's still working a full-time job. But then he's still operating and he has partners.
And continue the lineage of the restaurant operating. While we'd love for everyone to make as much as possible with a guaranteed minimum, the end result is the domino effect of having to raise prices across the board, which then pushes, some friction or resistance to your customers.
As of 2023, only 7 states have eliminated the sub-minimum wage. Saru Jayaraman is the founder and president of One Fair Wage.
And you know what's so funny? I'm going to break it down tomorrow, and I forgot about it, and I need to actually write that down. Over in California, they just signed a new thing to where the cost of even being able to get a fast food burger, because the fast food workers are going to be making an egregious amount of money, and even McDonald's saying that it's going to add at least another $250,000 in costs onto whatever it is that they're doing. But we're going to get to that tomorrow.
An organization seeking to end all sub-minimum wages in the country and increase the sustainability of wages and working conditions in the service sector.
These states actually have the same, or in many cases, higher restaurant industry business growth, small business growth rates, job growth rates in the restaurant industry, people of color own business rates, women of color own business rates.
What is women of color own business rate? What is people of color own business? Honestly, as a C student, maybe she just has a better grip on what economics are as far as what's going on within these businesses. I have never heard of people of color business rates. I don't even know what she's talking about right now, but let me see a little bit more before I speak on it.
And tipping averages than the rest of the country.
The nation's third largest city and foodie capital, Chicago, is the latest to make the move.
Shout out to
It's
Chicago.
complicated, and so is the definition of a tipped worker. An employee engaged in an occupation in which they customarily and regularly receive more than $30 a month in tips. Nowadays, that's a lot of people. And consumers aren't responding positively to this shift. In the second quarter of 2023, tipping at full-service restaurants fell to the lowest level since the start of the pandemic.
Yep.
I don't think people realize how impactful that tip can be solely because they're so accustomed to tipping everywhere now. That's gonna hurt businesses. That's gonna hurt people.
And it's funny because everywhere I go, it's a tip jar out there. Now, I don't agree with tipping everywhere. But again, everywhere I go, there's a tip jar out there, and everybody is telling you what it is that you can and you can't do. Everybody is, yo, tip jar, how much do you want to tip? They turn it at you. Make sure that you give me this amount of money, so on and so forth. But basically, I just wanted to break down exactly what the business principles are so people can make a more informed decision as to not whether or not they want to embrace that part of the culture or not. I'm not telling people what they should do. I'm just giving you the insight and information on what happens and what the true success rate of most businesses are and why they fail, because people do not truly do the math of what it takes in order to be successful, and they don't understand the finances aspect of it. You can make the best barbecue. You can have the best food. It could be absolutely awesome. But let me tell you something. It does not necessarily translate into success. Let me read a few of these super chats, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here. Mr. P says, it's going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. Facts. Let me take this belt off. I'm tired of being a whooping daddy. Take that belt off. Double R. RR Quake says, 5 tables an hour at $5 an hour is $25 an hour. I start at $10 a tip. 5 of me is $50 an hour. I'm confused. No, that's not true. First of all, they have slow times. Secondly, everybody don't tip. Third of all, they get taxed on it. It's a lot that goes into it. A lot of people are not familiar with it. Breakfast restaurants don't make as much money from a tipping perspective. It's a lot of different things. It's a lot of different factors that go into it. I just flat out pay my people an hourly wage, and whatever it is that they was able to finesse in tips, that was on them. But I just paid them a certain amount. I didn't pay them $2 or whatever. I paid them like, I don't remember. When did I open a restaurant? 2017 or something like that? And I was paying them $15, $16 an hour. So a lot of times I was just paying them out of my own pocket before we was even making money. So shout out to you. Bag for Bag says, get a serving window. Have the people serve themselves. The waiters are going to have to get a skill. That's true. That's true. And often at times, a lot of people that are the waiters and the waitresses, especially down in Austin and over there in Miami and stuff like that, they don't have the formal education because they are from out of the country. David Simpson says, never deal with race hustlers. That's a fact, though. I agree with that 100%. Vernon Brown says, do you tip on pickup orders? Yeah, most of the time I do. Shout out to Vern. I just give money out in general, so that's just me. That's just my spirit. Brock says, Pastor Love offering as usual. Awesome show as always. Thank you, Brock. I appreciate you. Let me give you that. I wasn't necessarily looking to make money like that because I was already making a lot of money anyway, so it was a little bit different for me. Yeah. Somebody said, did you talk to Aaron, Anton? Yeah, I talk to Aaron. Me and Aaron talk all the time. I talked to him this morning. Shout out to Aaron. We got it under control. We good over here. We good. So listen, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for continuing to tap into the show. You are very, very, very much appreciated over here at the Millionaire Morning Show. I love you guys. I appreciate you. But I need you guys to do me one more favor before we get up out of here. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. I put on this show every single morning to add value into your life, to help you get through the day and hopefully encourage you to be a better version of yourself. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also on top of that, if you have not got that Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift, support Teach Hanley. That link is in the description also. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.